A field data collection system may comprise of one or many tools. So today we're going to take a look at how to simplify the data collection experience using a variety of methods. And to make this easier, we can pull this into a single interface to help facilitate work. What we're looking at here is our Connected Worker Experience Builder application optimized for my mobile device. Today, one way to collect information is to provide users a tool to go out and collect things as simple as observations or safety reports. For example, if I've identified a hazard out in the field, I can select safety reports, and what that's going to do is automatically launch into our ArcGIS Quick Capture application. This is a way to help collect rapid observations. It's simple and easy to use. And so, for example, let's just say I've identified that there's a hazard. We can select that button, and then it'll prompt me with more detailed information to collect about that hazard. In this case, I've identified that there's an object on the road. And just like that, it's automatically dropped a point on my map to help notify others of this hazard. I can configure a variety of other types of buttons and observations to go ahead and collect out in the field. Now, perhaps another initiative my organization is doing is building out an asset inventory of all of our different equipment types. Let's take a look at how we can collect new equipment information using ArcGIS field maps. So if I go ahead and select Asset Inventory, it's going to seamlessly launch me into a new mobile application, ArcGIS Field Maps. And to assist with safety and awareness, we can actually enable location alerts, which are driven by geofences. So for example, when I enter in a site, I'll be prompted with an alert that's configured with key information. For example, if a site has high H2S levels. Within Field Maps, I have access to a variety of out-of-the-box tools. For example, if I wanted to view a legend and see all of the different types of equipment I have on site, we can also pull in other types of information. For example, we are overlaying some drone imagery that helps us visualize the site in more clarity. I can view existing pieces of information. For example, if I select on a compressor, through the configured pop-up, I can see more details about it. I can also collect new pieces of information. So for example, let's just say at this location, I've identified that there's a new valve that hasn't been accounted for. I can drop a point on the map and then simply select the type of equipment I want to collect. Within Field Maps, we have access to a smart form capability that's going to help streamline the data collection process for your users. Within my smart form, I can choose to upload a photo of this specific asset. I can also upload any sort of attachments as well, like audio files or existing files on my device. Now, within the smart form capability, there's a couple of different ways that we can build logic to help this process go more seamlessly. So for example, if I were to say, let's just go ahead and update our component type, actually, I've noted that this is a tank. When I choose a new component type, now you'll see new visible questions that I can fill out based on the type of component I've chosen, right? So this is going to help identify the key information that people need to fill out when they're in the field. We can also nest this type of logic. So for example, if it's an above ground storage tank, it's going to ask me if it has a floating roof. However, if I select underground storage tank, that question's going to go away because that wouldn't make sense, right? So you can help your users and really define and point them in the right direction. We can go ahead and continue filling out our form and give it a component ID. And once I'm happy with my information, I can go ahead and submit this. And what it's going to do is automatically update the office and any sort of web maps that are viewing this layer, right? So users back in the office can get access to real-time information coming from the field. We have seen how we can leverage mobile applications to collect simple observations or hazards out in the field. We've also seen how we can leverage tools to help build out our existing asset inventory. Another type of common work out in the field is all around work order management and how people and field crews can complete this type of work in a more efficient way. To support these types of workflows, we can leverage ArcGIS Workforce, which is a mobile app solution in addition to a web part as well, that really uses the power of location to coordinate your field workforce. So in this case, what we're looking at here is the ArcGIS Workforce mobile app. On the right, we can see a map containing the locations of different work orders that have been assigned to me, in addition to some of our core GIS asset layers. On the left, I have a digital to-do list representing all of the different types of work that needs to be completed today. I can choose to sort these based on things like priority, distance, due date, etc. And to get started, we can go ahead and select this critical repair here. Whenever we start on this repair, in this case, I can choose to upload certain attachments or photos. I can also view details that have been entered in by the dispatcher about this specific repair. Now, in this case, if I needed to fill out a more complex or provide more information about this repair, ArcGIS Workforce has native app integrations that we can leverage. So for example, if I need to survey at this assignment, we can automatically launch into the ArcGIS Survey 123 mobile app. This is really our form-based application that allows users to collect and fill out information using SmartForm capabilities. One of the aspects of Survey 123 is the ability to leverage asset tags or barcodes to help populate some of the fields we see here in my form. So for example, if I go ahead and pop open this and simply hover over a barcode or QR code on my equipment, you can see that we can take information to automatically populate things like the name, asset ID, the type of equipment, and the site. From there, we can continue to fill out our form, and we can use, again, logic to help streamline this data collection process, for example, to only capture the information that I need. Once I'm happy with the way that my form and information has been filled out, I can go ahead and submit that and send it back to help update and populate information back in the office. Once I'm done with my repair, we can go ahead and finish it out. And what that does is it's now moved that item or repair from my to-do list over into my completed list, which really helps me track all of the different work that I've completed throughout the day. Now, ArcGIS Workforce is one way to help complete these different types of work orders. Now let's take a look at where future work management is going using the ArcGIS Field Maps new tasking capability that you'll soon be able to leverage. So here we are back in ArcGIS Field Maps. And on the map, you can see I have my core asset layers in addition to the locations of tasks that have been assigned to me, being symbolized by their status. So whether it's assigned, unassigned, in progress, or completed. Similar to like what we saw in ArcGIS Workforce, I have a digital to-do list that's going to outline all of the different tasks I have for the day. And to make it easier to understand more information about, for example, the priority of my tasks, I can sort by priority to get a better idea. I can even go as detailed as deciding which information is shown about each task. So for example, if I want to see maybe the status, right now we're seeing the location. Maybe I want to see actually the pad name, right? And you'll see it'll update to reflect that. So there's a couple of differences between ArcGIS Workforce and the new tasking capability in Field Maps that allows you to do and reveal certain types of information. So let's go ahead and get started on a repair. I can go ahead and select on that item and click Start. When I do that, it takes my task from assigned to now in progress. And then from there, I've configured a couple of different items that I just want users to fill out in the field. For example, like a simple field note representing and notifying that this is complete. I can even include, for example, maybe if I wanted to fill in the amount of hours it took me to complete this repair. In this case, it took me 1 hour. And as I fill out this information, you'll see it's reflected in the pop-up, all of the different details that I filled out. Now, once I'm happy with my repair, I can go ahead and finish it. And from here, again, it's going to change the status of my task now to complete. And maybe I want to notify my team that I've gone ahead and completed this repair. We can configure it to automatically notify a team, for example, and what it's going to do is it's going to automatically, in this case, open Microsoft Teams and fill out key details that I've completed within my repair, like where it was, what time it was completed at, and how long. So this is a really great way to connect your users out in the field to people back in the office to help streamline and enhance communication. Now we've gone ahead and completed a repair. Let's go ahead and complete another type of work, for example, a weekly AVO. So I'll go ahead and select on that item and click Start. Now, in this case, since an AVO inspection may require more detailed information, we can also embed app links within the survey or within ArcGIS Field Maps task. So for example, I'm actually going to go ahead and link out to a very detailed AVO inspection form that we've built out using Survey 123. Now, you can choose to actually pass information between these two apps so you don't have to fill it out twice. For example, like the facility name, the type, the date, etc. And then from there, I can go ahead and fill out existing information within my form. And again, like we saw earlier, within Survey 123, we can build in different logic within our smart forms. Once I'm happy with my information, I can go ahead and send off my form to be notified back in the office. Similar, like we just saw with our repair, we can go ahead and finish out our weekly AVO, and now I've gone ahead and completed 2 different tasks. One of the main differences between ArcGIS Workforce and Field Maps tasking capability is the ability to pick up dynamic work on the go. So for example, if I'm in the area and I notice that there's actually a task that maybe is unassigned to me, maybe it's just unassigned, but the work still needs to be completed, I can actually see all of those different tasks here, right? And in this case, it helps because I can actually pick that up since I'm already in the area. So if I select on the quarterly inspection, for example, I can choose to pick up, and it's going to automatically assign that task to me so that I can go ahead and start on it and complete the information about my inspection. So one of the really great ways to help, make this work more efficient, if your users are out in the field and they're nearby, they can see that work and automatically pick it up. Now, as people are out collecting all of this information out in the field, we really want a great way to help visualize this, right? And one of the ways that we can leverage is by putting all of this into an ArcGIS dashboard to help better understand our overall mobile operations. So we've configured a dashboard that's actually being driven by some of the data that we saw within Quick Capture around safety reports. I can even choose to pull in real-time information if I wanted to, showing where other field personnel are in relation to my location. So a really great way to help raise awareness and have better understanding about all of the activities going out on the field. Now, we've gone ahead and seen how we can use a variety of different ways to use mobile and web solutions to help complete different types and support a field data collection system. So now what we're going to do is we're going to transition and take a look at the back end and see a little bit more on how we've configured all of these different apps. We've seen so far some of the different creative ways that we can leverage our mobile applications to help streamline data collection and really support a field data collection system. Now, what I'm going to do is transition a bit and take a look back in the office at how we would even get started with configuring some of these applications. We're going to go ahead and start off with ArcGIS Quick Capture. Now, as a Quick Capture app designer, I can access my app by going to the app gallery and selecting on Quick Capture. So here's a look at what the back-end editing canvas looks like for our oil field observations app that we saw earlier. Now, like I mentioned earlier, ArcGIS Quick Capture is a really simple and easy app to use to help collect rapid data and observations. And it's through this big button interface. This is really easy to build out, right? So if I wanted to just quickly add a new button or type of information for my users to collect, I can just simply click and drag here within my canvas and configure my button using the properties pane over here on the right. Now, under the hood, we saw earlier a little bit around our hazard and how we've collected that. So I just want to show you some of the different button user types that we can leverage to help streamline and automate the data collection. So in this case, we've identified the observation type that users select when they click hazard to be hazard. Now, we also saw how we can collect more detailed information about that hazard. And this is through using button user inputs, which is a dialog shown after your button's pressed. We can go ahead and add more details about it. And just to show you, for example, if we take a look at what the hazard pane looks like, here's what it would look like whenever you're editing your user input. So you can choose the type of input if you wanted a choice list, a multi-line text, or even free-form text. And then you can provide different choices or values to collect, in this case, about my hazard. So these are going to be different depending on the input type that I've chosen whenever a user selects it, right? So for example, if I go into road closure and take a look at the same type, right, we'll see here now our observation detail is going to point to that value, closure, which has specific choices that are relevant to my closures. So again, just a different way to help streamline that data collection process using button user inputs. We can also calculate values using device variables. For example, I can automatically pinpoint the time that this was collected and even the user's name that collected this specific observation. We can also leverage arcade expression buttons to calculate new values within our Quick Capture app. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and collect the county that they were in, and I'll go ahead and show you what this looks like using ArcGIS Arcade. And I can use these in a variety of different ways. So here we're collecting a point in a polygon, our location within a county. I can also pull in information about nearby EMS stations or even information about the site that they were nearest to when this observation was collected. So a couple of different ways that you can use different button types to help populate information within your application. Now, we also saw an example of using an ArcGIS dashboard to help get a better idea of the overall situation out in the field, right? One of the new things within ArcGIS dashboards is the ability to configure mobile views. So if I go ahead and open the edit mode of my dashboard and expand the view, here we can see that right now we're in the desktop view. This is what it would look like, for example, on my computer. But we can go ahead and pop this open, and if I select mobile, what we're going to see now is the same dashboard, but being optimized for a mobile device. And one of the cool things about this is you don't have to build your dashboards from scratch, right? So if I have a really nice list element that I've configured, I can simply copy that element over and bring it into your mobile view here. So a really great way to kind of configure the dashboard depending on the user experience and where your field crew, in this case, are accessing the dashboard from. Now, lastly, I'll end off and talk a little bit about one of the areas that we're investing in terms of integrating AI into our overall stack. And one place that you can find this is in Survey123. Survey123 has an assistant that allows us to help streamline and enhance the form creation process. So if we go ahead and pop that open, it's going to have a user dialogue similar to ChatGPT or any other assistant that you might use. And we can ask it to do things. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask it to create an AVO inspection form for an oil and gas processing facility with 5 questions. Now, I don't have to be specific and say 5 questions per se. I can choose to just overall create an inspection form. But since we're doing this live, I'll identify 5 questions. And then from there, what it's going to do is it's going to give me a draft of what a good AVO inspection form might look like. So I can use this to create my form from here. I can also interact with it and have a dialogue with it. So maybe if I wanted to, please add an image question, I can ask it to do that. Again, what it's going to do is it's going to go back and take a look at the overall draft that it's created and then automatically add an image question. But I can get really creative with this, right? If I wanted to go ahead and say, what am I missing if I live in the state or we operate in the state of Texas, it might go out and pull that type of information, right? But in this case, I'm happy with the way that it's provided me with this draft. And then from there, what we can do is actually generate a survey draft. So now what it's done is it's not only taken the input and responses I've given it, it's gone ahead and created and generated an overall draft of my survey form. So in the past, right, we would click and drag and build out my form one by one, but you can really see how this would expedite that process by providing me with industry questions and information that I might need to configure within my form. And I can interact with this just like I would with any other web form that I have, right? If I wanted to continue building it out and add another question, I can do that. I can customize the appearance, etc.